and welcome along to the Adair in Conversation with. And a big shout out to all the listeners on our Actors Toolkit podcast. Today, we've got something a little bit different. We are joined by, in my humble opinion, one of the best headshot photographers in the business, the lovely Alexa Wilding. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm AP Wilding. You can't call me Alexa, because Alexa is going to go off.
Yeah, my Alexa in the room, every time I say Alexa, it's lighting up, waiting for instructions.
You won't say it, so you're calling me Alex.
Yeah, so we'll go with Alex.
Purpose.
So we'll go with Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking me. So lovely to just talk, because you know me and headshots, I can just talk. So to be able to do that very freely is very sweet. Thank you very much.
No, of course, that wouldn't have anyone else on. So do you want to tell our listeners, who is Alexa Wilding, and can you tell us a little bit about your career so far?
Yes, I started off at art college. I thought I would be painting and drawing and photography as well. Then I took a detour. I've been modeling and acting for 15 years. And then when that ended, there's a point, I think, a lot of actors where I think, I just don't want to do this anymore. I loved it at the time, but then I did stop and I did normal jobs, which I hated. And then it came to me, why are you doing this? You used to do photography. Why don't you maybe think about transitioning into photography? And I'd always loved it. And I did my actor friends' headshots when I was acting. So I retrained completely. And I did a few different sorts of photography. I did editorial, I did film stills, theatre stills, which I love. But I really found a passion for portraits, particularly acting portraits, headshots. And of course, because I'm an ex-actor, it's an affinity. I just love it. And I really found I've changed my life completely. I'm so happy that I did that. I'm so much happier behind the camera.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing. And I've learned so much that I didn't know as an actor about headshots. You don't. It's funny. All they tell you at drama school is black t-shirt, white t-shirt, keep it natural. It's so much more. And I've only learned that being this side, and the feedback over the years from agents and clients with this happened because of this, and okay, wow. So I've learned so much from being here, actually, rather than as an actor. When you're an actor, you just want to look pretty. Make me look good. You don't really think about anything else. You think, oh, they'll imagine me in this thing. No, they won't.
No time. And so that takes us on to our first question. Why are headshots so important for an actor?
They're all you have. I know a lot of people say, oh, part of your toolkit as an actor is your headshot. No. It's all there is. It's all there is. You can have the most amazing showreel in the world. You can have done some really great work here. They're never going to click on it. They're never going to see your showreel or anything you've done if they don't like this headshot, this first headshot that they see in a sea of pictures in front of them. That has to jump out. It's all you have, unless you are Nicole Kidman, Tom Holland, Jodie Comer, somebody else famous. They don't need headshots. They can do exactly what they want, because you just have to reference them by name.
Yeah.
The rest of us actors, 99%, it's going through Spotlight. That's where it's going. And if you don't have a good headshot, and you have a week, because you think, oh, it's all right, it's only headshots, I'll do it next year when I've got some, you won't get any more work if you don't improve this headshot. It just looks as though you either don't know what you're doing, or you don't care, or you won't invest. And that's the last thing you want people to think. You want them to think, this is my life. And this is all there is your headshot, because that's going to open the door to everything else. It's going to get you a great agent. Well,
yeah, that's very true. So what makes a good headshot?
I have a few things here. The most important thing, it has to jump off a page. It's when they first see you're very small, and there are lots of faces to look at.
It's just thumbnail size, isn't it?
Thumbnail, exactly, and it's that big. It's a thumbnail for a reason. It's literally that big. And I think as an actor, if you don't know how this works, I know that I'll talk a bit more about it later on, but there's a process. And if you don't know how that works, you think that they go straight to your spotlight as the first thing they see. They don't see that. They see you here with another 50 people, or however many people there are on the screen, and you have to jump off from that. So things that won't work are very basic things. If you've got very dark hair and you're on a very dark background, forget it, they can't see you. You're just a floating head. If you waste a lot of body in a shot, and there's a big thing at the moment, loads of people are shooting, this I do them, but it's meant for PR type stuff. It's meant as a backup if they, a magazine wants to do a piece on you. But these shots where there's a lot of body, see where my head is, this is a headshot here.
Yeah.
Okay. Back and back and back and back and back. You now can't see me.
Mm.
A casting director can't actually see you. It's a very basic thing. So when you've got loads of heads there, but your head is half the size of everybody else's because you've got loads of body in the shot, you just wasted your time. They can't see you. Mm-hmm. So things that you should do, it needs to look just like you as you look now. Any casting director, that's the piece of advice. It's obvious it's got to look like you.
Yeah.
But it's got to look like you right now, not how you were 18 months ago, not when your hair was slightly different. That's not going to help you. You need it to look natural lighting, and that doesn't mean you need to go outside. It just means not heavily flashy, very natural. I get some people that say, can we go, I need trees in the background. I've been told I need to shoot very natural, so I need to go outside and have trees in the background. That's not what the casting director means. They just mean keep it really, really natural, not a lot of production. Natural hair, natural makeup, no high fashion looks, very heavily thick, the drawn on and the cat eye. Avoid that. You're putting a barrier in front of the casting director's view of you. So keep it really, really simple. Then you need a really gentle nod towards a type, but very, 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 very gentle. And this would be your range of images that you can have on Spotlight. So you'd have something that was a bit more serious, a little bit more gritty, something that was lighter, a bit more flirty or softer. That would be your range, but you need to keep that vibe real, really natural. So when they look at all the shots, it just looks real each time, but slightly different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the most important thing, just to keep it really, really, really natural. Don't complicate things.
And like you say, keep them recent as well, because the last thing you want is to be called in for a recall and look nothing like your headshots, or to be called in for an audition even. You
may not even be called in, because my next point is your show reel, piece of film that you have, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. If that doesn't look like your headshot, forget it, it just ended.
Yeah.
You need to look exactly the same all the way through the process, from the first shot they saw of you on the screen when there's loads of other people there. They click on that, they're in your spotlight. Now you look like all those shots, a little bit of a leaning towards a few different things. They click on a show reel. The show reel looks just like you. Unfortunately, it often doesn't. And I see loads and loads and loads of show reels and loads of spotlights. And this picture is not this person in the show reel. You must see it. It's like, oh.
I think a lot of it's to do with time, because sometimes if you're doing show reel material, rather than paying to have a show reel made, you're using footage from projects that you've been in. And if those projects were from years ago and you haven't done anything since, then.
Yeah. And you think that's all you've got. So you're like, oh, I really need to change that. As soon as I get a job, I'll change that. You don't need to do that. You just need to put a monologue on there that looks like you now. And you have you can control. You can do that monologue 10 times until you're happy with it. Unlike a piece of film that sometimes you have and you're not really even happy. I have loads of clients. I don't even really like it, but I've got it. It's all I've got. So you're using something you don't really like, but you could do something that you really like. And as long as that show reel, that piece of film, that montage that you have on there looks just like you in the headshot, then you didn't break the process.
Yeah.
It's the same person, and they only need to see you can act. That's all they want. They just want to see, can this person act, and does it look like this?
Yeah.
It's very quick. The whole process of being in there is so fast. I think I'm probably rambling now about Spotlight, because that's the most important thing. But just about, I think you're saying to me, what's the most important thing about getting your headshots done?
Yeah.
It's the most money you're ever going to spend on anything in the business, because it's the most important thing. And not just because I'm a headshot photographer. I mean, it just is. It's all that's there.
Yeah.
So don't waste your money. Really research your photographer. Don't book somebody that's just around the corner because they're just around the corner. If they're 200 miles away, but they're amazing, book them and go to them. You're only going to go once every 1 to 2 years. You can make that journey. It's so important. Book in advance. Busy photographers, they're busy, they're booked. So you can't, can I get a shot next week? No, you need to think in advance. You know you're going to need them. You know you need headshots in the next 6 months. You know these aren't working, or you've changed a little bit, or you want to go in a different direction, or your agent's saying, I really, really think you should be going more down this direction, but the headshots don't say it. You know that's coming. So plan it, book them in advance, then start prepping.
Yeah. And what kind of prep what do you want actors to do in advance?
I want them to talk to you, their agent. What is this? Where am I going? Am I in the right place? Am I actually getting the work I want to get? Am I getting work I don't really want to get? I really want to get this work, but the headshots say this work. So that's the way that the work's going to go. If you want to go in a different direction, say, for example, you really want to do comedy, but you've got like 4 or 5 really serious headshots there, your agent can't put you up for comedy. Your agent's hands are totally tied by the headshots that you have. And they say, well, my agent only puts me up with this because you've only given them this. If you give them something that if you give them the shots that work for the work that you want to get, then the agent can sub you for all this other stuff. You must find that.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, the things that, as an agent, from an agent point of view, the things I ask my clients to get with their headshots are obviously bright colors. Something with a formal collar is always good for putting forward for lawyers, teachers, doctors, those kind of roles, and something with a smile, as simple as that. Something with a smile that we can use for commercial roles, mum roles, best friend roles, these kind of things.
Trustworthy, friendly, nice, the person that is not going to be a nasty person, brighter.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you don't have that, and that's just a really basic range, those 3, it's a really good starting point.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, and you have 3 smiley shots, but really you're desperate to be doing like the heavy Ozark stuff. But you're never going to be able to send them up for that when you're doing this in every shot.
Yeah.
It's not. And then they get surprised. And once you explain this, they go, oh. If you're a plumber, you have plumbing things on your website, don't you?
Yeah.
So if you're an actor, you need shots that portray the sort of work that you want to get. If it's conflicting, there's going to be a disconnect for everybody, for you, for the client, and it's frustrating. So those are the things. Be clear on talk to your agent, find out what your casting type is if you don't know. A lot of really young actors have no idea. So what I would do if their agent hasn't already advised them, I would do what you more or less said. You get a very basic range to cover them for a few different things. But the talk to the agent's really, really crucial. Then you're both on the same page. Sometimes the agent sends a list. That's great as well, or really tells the client, this is where we should be going. So when they come in, they're clear. I can help them a lot if they're not clear, because we talk for a long time about where they are, where they want to be. But if they have done that prep and understand who they are as an actor and as a product, because you're really like a product in the photo that the casting director is going to pick. So you want to be sure that you're portraying this product accurately for where you want to be going. And I think that's the prep thing. I think it's more or less. And then one more thing about headshots. Don't worry about spots. Spots, blobs, dark circles. Don't try and cover them up. Just leave it. A retoucher will take them off so easily. But if you put a load of heavy foundation to cover that, they've also got messy makeup, or as well as the problem. So never worry about that, and just try and chill before the headshot session, and try and chill and relax.
And so what's a typical session with AP Wilding like?
Chilled.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Drink loads of tea.
Loads of tea, coffee if you drink coffee, cookies. The most important thing about a headshot session is to be really relaxed. And I do a lot of work with your face to relax your face, muscle work. Because when you go to anything that's stressful, everything goes into stiffness. It's just as if you were going to be in a play, or you're going to do some chill relaxation exercises. But we do that a bit later, not as soon as you walk in. So as soon as they walk in, they will have had at that point their prep from me. So they'll have a welcome pack. They'll have a lot of information in there about styling, what to expect, what to think about, very subtle changes to clothes. They'll have brought a big bag of clothes, hopefully tops. I will have already been through their spotlight. I would have read everything. I'll have seen their show reel, get a vibe, try and get to see who they are. I probably would have stalked them a bit on Instagram, if they exist on Instagram, because some casting directors do this. This can look very different to this. And sometimes I had a client the other day and his headshots were flat and dull. But he, in his clips of film and on his spotlight, on his Instagram, was so exciting and vibrant as a person. I'm like, oh my God. But in his headshots, he was like an accountant.
Yeah.
And he's not like that, remotely, very vibrant, very, very full of life. So that was a disconnect that needed to change. So I got a little bit of a view of his personality from his social media, but I would have done that research before they come in. Then we come in, we sit, we chill, we spend a lot of time talking about what we're saying now. If they're not sure of how the process works, because as I said earlier on, some people really don't understand that the casting director doesn't see their main spotlight page instantly. There's a process to go through before they get there. And if they screw up that first shot, they're never going to get through to the process. And a lot of them don't actually understand that.
Yeah.
Then we'll plan, talk about where they are in their career, where they want to be, because it could be in a completely different place. Sometimes they're doing the stuff that they don't really want to be doing. They need to continue doing that because it's work that's getting them money. So we need to continue to get that while transitioning to some other stuff. So we'll write a list, we'll plan it, then we'll look at the clothes, and we do it that way around.
Yeah.
Not I like this top, I want to wear this top. We're not modeling clothes.
No.
We work out what we're going to do first, then we get the clothes and see what might fit. So that's how that would work. And then they just have fun and I play music and they're silly and then it all works.
I was away to say one thing that you really did that really relaxed me was playing music that fitted the types of shots that we were trying to get.
Yeah, that's really useful because it's a soundtrack. My husband's a sound designer, so I understand the importance of sound and music and what that does to you. It can raise your heart rate, can make you stressed, it can calm you down, and anything that can help in a session for you to feel a bit in the way of whatever it is that we're trying to do it can only be helpful. I had so many headshot sessions, either in total silence. Hello, how are you? What would you like to wear? Go and sit over there. Want to get ready? Let's go. Like,
and the actor's nervous already, so you don't want to make them any more nervous.
Oh my God. They're nice, but and in silence. And it's like a dinner party with no music. It's really odd. There's that thing that's missing, that other entity. It's like a soundtrack. That's why if you have a movie, there's music to work with it to make you think that thing more. Yeah. And it does help. Yeah, and it's really helpful. So I'm glad you found that helpful. You were amazing.
I did, yeah, 100%. I remember we were talking about doing Outlander, for example, and listening to Scottish music in the background to help get into character. And things that really helped. And like I say, relaxed me as well, yeah.
Totally. And it takes your mind off. Anything that takes your mind off where you are, when you're an actor standing with a camera on you and a person you've just met with a load of lights. And it's very nerve-wracking. And a lot of people say to me who aren't actors, oh, but the actors must be amazing. No, it's because it's the total opposite. There's so many things as actors that you need. The pressure, the money you've just spent. You've got to make your agent happy. You want to look amazing while not looking like you're trying to look amazing. You need to look like a character type without looking like a character type. You want to suggest this without being too heavy and suggest. There's a lot of pressure. So anything that can take your mind off it is good. So yeah, music, silly. I'm very silly.
Right, and that's great though, because again, it's relaxing. It really is. So, all right, how important are expressions and character types in a headshot?
Yes, they are. So expression. We are animals, humans, and we're programmed to mirror emotion. So if the emotion is real in the headshot, the viewer, which is a casting director, won't know what's happened. They'll just see this real emotion after seeing a look. Because most headshots are quite dull still. Like when I first started, like this.
Yeah. At least they're in color now. When I started,
yeah, talk about that. It's very important. Yeah. But a real emotion, you feel it. So if I really smile genuinely at you, you can't help it. You start to twitch and you do it back.
Yeah.
So when they're looking, anything that can help, when they're looking at these sea of faces and they'll see real emotion and they'll go, and they'll just click on the shot. They won't know what's happened. They'll probably think it's because you had a bright color top or there was something about you, but they've felt something when they saw the image, and then they click in your spotlight, then there's more of the same. So expression's very important. Nothing too over the top. You see sometimes an expression that's uncomfortable in a headshot. And you don't want to be that. You want to be comfortable and chill. That must be real and natural. And then Character type, I think, was your next question.
Yes, yeah. Are you trying to describe types of characters, or I've heard it both ways. I've heard some casting
Yes.
say they like a sort of blank canvas to build the character upon, without too many suggestions, just in case you're going the wrong way.
Totally, and that's something else that it's funny, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and about they were interpreting the brief too much. I said, no, just look like the headshot that they saw. Do the self-tape, looking as this, they love this. They love this headshot. They've asked you to do a self-tape, but you've completely changed the way you look because you tried to interpret the brief. You get the brief. Briefs are so confusing sometimes. I sometimes see them, they're like so long, they're like that long, contradictory, and you think, I don't know which one. If I was trying to help a client, I don't know which one she's like. So the best thing, look like the picture that they saw, because that's what they liked. Just do that and continue. So expressions and character type have to be so subtle. Character type, don't characterize it. Just a gentle vibe. Is it a more upmarket, richer type of person? You're not going to have a hoodie on. It's going to be a better fabric, a very subtle thing. You might be a tiny bit glossy. You might look a tiny bit more confident. If it's something that's the detective that's down on his luck and he's an alcoholic and he's just left his wife and he's got 3 kids and then she won't let him see it, there's going to be an element of darker, grittier, slightly dirtier kind of vibe going on, but very subtle. I think people try too much to make it too extreme, but the portrait type thing with some casting directors say that they like as well. Yeah, everybody's got a different view. That's another thing. You're never going to get 2 people that ever say they like the same thing. So if you keep it not so extreme, you please more people. You raise the chance of them liking your shots and picking you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. In the old days, I was going to say, in the old days, we were just talking about black and white headshots there. All headshots used to be black and white. I remember, being at drama school and having black and white headshots with your CV on the back, and you used to post them out, and they cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds to reprint them. Why was that? Why were they in black and white? I never understood that.
They're in black and white because they cost half the price.
Well,
we have to print them. I mean, print color. We've had a black and white photography with this for 100 years since film started, because they didn't have any color. Once color came in, we started with film. We switched straight as soon as color film came in. We switched.
Yeah,
because you didn't have to pay for it as an individual, but headshots, we have to pay for them. So as you said, I still have a box somewhere like this size, 8x6, that you used to get printed with your thing on the front and your info on the back and your agent. And you used to send out like hundreds and hundreds of these things and spend an absolute fortune. It's so amazing now. They just pay for the set.
Yeah, I mean, you were hundreds of pounds for a reprint company to reprint them for you.
And then you'd only have one shot. Now they can see a whole little subtle change in the shift of mood in your headshot. But then you had the one headshot that had to do everything. So I'd say, well, how can I be a fairy tale princess and a serial killer in the same picture? You can't. So you'd try and you'd end up being, that's where generic came from. Get the generic headshot. Did your agent say that to you? Just a generic headshot. It's like, generic just means boring.
Yeah.
But it has to be bland in a way. And then you'd have another one, which your commercial headshot, and you'll be happy. No, thank God it's not like that. When Spotlight went digital, they stopped. Of course, they stopped printing in black and white. They stopped printing. They'd have gone bankrupt if they had to print in color.
Yeah.
The young people, they don't even realize, the young actors, that Spotlight was a proper book, an actual book. So each book was like this big. So that would be female A to D.
Yeah.
Another one, female F to G or whatever. And you could go and see them in Spotlight office. Hundreds of books in the corner, and you make sure you were in it. You'd have the letter saying you were, but you would still go and check, am I in it?
I remember looking through the books trying to see how many famous people I could recognize.
So funny. Yeah, but black and white, it's a headshot is a casting tool. I love black and white headshot, black and white portraiture. It's my favorite. It's beautiful. I love it. It's gorgeous. A headshot is a very specific casting tool. It's a very specific portrait for one very small audience, which is a casting director. And they are the ones that need to be made happy and to be clear. And they need to see your coloring and need to see your type very, very quickly. I'm really confusing. You're a little bit lighter. You'll probably be okay. But we both could sit in the, could be light brown, dark blonde, could be red, eyes could be blue, hazel, green, awful. So that's why, thank God, we've shifted completely to colour, because we don't have to print and we don't have to pay for it. So it's amazing. So Spotlight, completely colour. And anybody really young listening to this is going to think, oh my God, they're dinosaurs.
Probably, yeah, probably. But hey,
we used to put them in a post box. The red
I remember looking through the contacts directory to find all the addresses to write them to. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a book, contacts, and you'd go through and you'd look them all up. And then you'd send your showreel. Don't talk about showreels. How much that cost? Video, proper video.
Sending out DVDs.
Lucky to get that back.
Crazy. Yeah. I remember sending a stamp addressed envelope so I could get the headshots back because they were so expensive to print. If you're not interested, please send it back.
Did they?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But then that was the same as getting a no to an audition, really.
Yes, slap in the head.
Exactly. Which brings us on to colours. While we're talking about that, why are coloured clothes so important? You know, why are bright colours important?
Right. So if talking still about, leading on from what you just said about how things were back in the day, unfortunately, still now, people are still advised, hey, black t-shirt, white t-shirt, headshot session. So I know a lot of advice is still old school advice. I had somebody the other day said they were told by their drama school, "Oh, never smile in a headshot." No, who told you that? Well, this is how we were taught. That was how we used to do it years and years ago, because we only had one headshot. You wouldn't waste it on a smile unless it was a commercial shot. Your serious shot would just be your main shot. These days, of course, you need a smile. Yeah. Of course, you need a smile. They need to know what this is going on in here for a start. Even if they're not great teeth, you need to know there are teeth there, and it's just a normal, yeah, you can smile. But casting directors need to know what your face does when it's moving about. They can imagine, but it's better if you can see it. It's like, oh, great. So this advice of black t-shirt, white t-shirt, still now, when they look at, you must know when you see it, you see loads of dark, heavy stuff. 50 people on the screen are wearing dark colours. Well, some are wearing this, hello.
And those they're the ones that stand out.
You can't, of course. And you're going to pull them in because you can see it. Like the don't have really dark hair on a really dark background, they can't see you. Don't waste loads of space here, I can't see your face. There are the basic things. But with colour, what's going to happen is more and more people are going to wear really, really bright colours in all the shots. So conversely, what you might find, say, in a year, when everybody on that screen, 40 people are all wearing bright colours like this, the person that stands out is going to be the person in a simple white blouse. So that's the shot that's going to stand out. So you have to be careful how you use colour. Use it where it's relevant. So if it's the character, say, is, like if it was me now, happy, sweet, she works in a bar, she's really that kind of person, this is perfect. If I was a detective, like I said earlier on, the detective, her life has gone to hell, her husband left her, she's got money problems, she's an alcoholic on the side, why would I be wearing this in that casting type? It doesn't make sense. Your shirt would be perfect, because that would be perfect for that. So it's not always that you always wear a bright top, it's to keep it relevant to what this shot is. And then it will be in the right place, I think.
Yeah, which kind of ties us into how casting directors, we talked about this at the start, but how casting directors actually view your headshot, because until they click on your profile, all they see is this little thumbnail. So it's so important to stand out. It's
so important. And this, I do have notes for this because there's so much. This is really, really important. The first time they do see you is minute on a screen with lots of other people. So that's the first stage. You need to jump out from that. We've already spoken about how to jump out. So once you've jumped out and you're amazing, then they go, oh, I like that one. They click on it. Now they're in your spotlight page. So this is the most important thing that you have as an actor, as a working actor in the world. It's this. This is your website. Sometimes I get people that say, oh, I haven't looked at that for a year. You haven't looked at it for a year. Well, not only will everything be out of date, you don't like this anymore, you've got a different haircut. You wrote here that I'm just about to appear in this play in 2021. It's now 2023. Casting director knows you're not updating that. You're not on top of it. You need to be on top of it. It's all you have. Make sure the information's correct. Make sure you haven't got a load of old show reels. Sometimes you see loads, and there's so many show reels. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm tired. I don't know which one to pick. But you're paying me, you're my client. I'll do anything for you right now. I'll go through every single one. A casting director is going to go, I don't even know which one to look at. And this one, it doesn't look like this picture. So you need to be really concise. Have less on there. Make it count. Make sure all the heads, I mean, this is so basic, but your headshots really need to be really, if you're an adult in the last 2 years at the most. You can change so much and not know it. Drop a bit of weight, put a bit of weight on, change your eyebrows, your hair's a different cut, and it just makes you look different, older, younger. Don't have conflicting ages on the headshot page. It's the worst thing you can possibly do, because they don't know which one you are. Do you just look young there? Or was this the most recent one? You're really good light. Did you lose some weight and just look great? Or is this the one that you are? I don't know. I don't care. I've got too many people to look at. I'm casting for a massive movie, and it's going to take me 6 months. I'm looking at 25,000 pictures. I haven't got time to work out what you really are. They won't think that. They just go, and then off. Any confusion, they're off. So everything must be concise. The pictures must all be recent. Don't keep anything for emotional reasons. Spotlight is not a place for emotion. It's cutthroat. No one's going to see it. So why do you care? It's not your Instagram page. It's your Spotlight page. It's only me, the agent.
I say this so much. It's a tool. It's not a showcase. It's not a CV. It's a tool that casting directors use and agents use in order to find you work. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that actors should be paying for it, but even though you are paying it for it, it's not for you.
No, exactly. It's not for you. It's for a casting. It's the most important person in this whole scenario is the casting director. We need to make them happy, or we don't work. I don't work, you don't work, they don't work. If suddenly there's no casting anymore, I don't know how it would happen. The most important person is the casting director. So you need to make their life so simple, so easy and smooth that they go, oh, love that. Oh, look. And that's what, and then the show reel looks just like them. Oh, she's really good. Put them on the short list. Bang, bang. That's it. It just needs to be that smooth. And when you turn up, actually, I've missed a step. So take any weak shots off. That's really important about not thinking emotionally about Spotlight. If there's a weak shot, it's human nature. We will hone in on the weak shot and we will negate all the good shots. You won't think they really look, you'll think, oh, they really look like that. That's how they really look. But this was an amazing day, or they've got loads of makeup, or the photographer's a genius. This is, and it could be so unfair because that might not be the case at all, but you just love that shot so much and remember a really good vibe with that shot. Don't do that. Take that off, have less, be the same, be good. It's better you only have one shot that's amazing than 10 that are so mediocre or bad that you put them on there because you think, oh, well, this shot didn't quite get it. I'll put this one on as well. And I'll put this one on as well. And you just end up with so many pictures. They just think boring, boring 10 times.
Yeah.
If you just kept that one incredible picture, they couldn't think anything other than, oh, that's my place. So, the show reel thing. If they love these pictures and they love a little bit of work and they think, yeah, I love this. If there's no film there, they might ask them in for a self-tape. They might. But the likelihood is if there's some clip of film that they can just click on, see it looks just like them and you're good, you raise your chance of them asking you for a self-tape. You just do. So a lot of people worry that they need this expensive show reel, or they save up for, or they haven't got any film. Just put a monologue on there to start you off. Something that they do you think that this is good advice? Because I've seen this
yes,
lot
100%.
as well.
Yeah. I would say that matches your headshot as well.
Oh God, it's got to match your headshot.
Yeah,
yes, totally. Don't, for God's sake, then that's the control that you have. If you've got new headshots and your last self-tape or monologue was 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, do another one. You have control over that. Yeah. And you can, if you can tie it in some way with the new headshots that you've got. So say you do 2 contrasting pieces, one kind of bubbly and full, and then really one really slow, and you change the way you look, and you kind of get onto the way the headshot looks. You've just really confirmed to the casting director that yes, you are this, yes, you can act, it all links up. I love this person. And a lot of people worry so much they don't put anything on there. So there's a big gap where it says show reel and there's nothing to click. And they just want to see you can act and they just want to see you look like this. And if that's tick, tick, you're raising your chance of them asking you for a self-tape. And then in the self-tape, look like the headshot that they saw.
Yeah. That's
the second thing where you can lose them completely. You need to look like that because that's what they loved. They all like that. So what do? You change it completely. Don't look like that. Like you were saying earlier on, when you used to, back in the day, when we'd actually get proper castings face to face all the time, and you'd go looking completely different from the headshot. So what they used to do then, they'd have a pile of them here and they'd say, oh, hello, lovely to meet you. Yeah, just want to go right over there. That's bad. You don't look like your headshot. What you want to say is, oh, you look just like your headshot. How fab. Do come in. And it's exactly.
And it's so easy as well.
It's so easy. Don't think and make it harder. I think as an actor, we overcomplicate. So what do they want? How do they want me to be? They just want you to look like that picture. Look like that picture all the way. Turn up looking like that picture. Do the self-tape looking like that picture. That's what they bought when they click on the picture. They want that. Just be it. And don't worry too much about how you're interpreting it or not.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I could ramble.
No, that's perfect. Can you tell us about some of the successes that actors have had using your headshots?
I get so excited when I hear, because I stay in touch with so many of my clients, and they say, oh my God, I just got this because of this headshot and they saw this, and it's so exciting. I'm not acting anymore, so I'm kind of doing it through them now. It's oh my God, that's so exciting. I shoot children as well as adult actors equally, and I'll start with a couple of kids purely because last week we got some really good news. One of my clients, Isla G, is going to be starring with Martin Freeman. Big, it's something loose. I didn't write a note to tell you what's it called. Flavia de Luce. Big things. It's very exciting. So they ran now shot in Variety, and I shared it on Instagram. It's very exciting when that happens. Another
they use your headshot in Variety.
With Martin Freeman. Oh my God, that's so great. So happy. She's amazing, this kid. And it's lovely to shoot, because usually my clients, I shoot them for a long time. So I've been with her, and another one, Brooke Carter, who's in Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown, so she's going to be starring when they're filming now. It was very exciting to see their rise. Kira Chancer is another one that hadn't done that much before, but did the shot, and she got a massive film with Angelina Jolie playing her daughter. Big movie. So adult wise, that's also exciting. Priya Dadra in EastEnders, big role from her in that. Another one, Mihir Pandra, is just on EastEnders as well. Ellie Fanyinka was in Holby City, and the shot that we did for her, they already knew her. She did tell me that this is fine to say, because she was so excited. They knew her already, but the shot gave a different leaning, and she got a massive part in it for years. Ryan Harston, another guy that's just done Happy Valley. He was a priest, I think, in the scene with the main lead. In the prison, yes. Oh, did you see? Yeah. And he's one of our ex-clients, Ryan. Yeah. Yeah, he's one of our former clients, yeah. Then we're just that's a very gentle segue into your clients. I was waiting to say that. I think I maybe told Ryan to go and get his headshots. No, I love you even more then. Oh, that's really sweet. Daniel Haid. Also you got Ted Lasso. Yep, plays Lindsay Higgins in Ted Lasso. Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. Casey Flanagan. Yeah. He's in Emmerdale next week. Oh, is he next week? No, this week actually. It's tomorrow. Oh my God, I have to get it out. Yeah, no, it's really exciting. It's lovely to see you doing so well instantly. You kind of really risen in such a lovely way, and everybody has such lovely respect for you. Thanks. Yeah, and they're all such good actors. They are. Well, that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. Yeah. So if an actor's coming to you for headshots, what kind of packages do you offer? You don't need to go into prices and things on the. No. I just really whatever they want. Very short session. They just want to top up 1 or 2 shots. The standard session is probably the most in-depth, and lots of time, lots of different casting types, just more time, and it's more settled. And then the 4-hour is really, it's called More Than a Headshot, but it's if you want to maybe do some headshots and then do more editorial stuff as well, full length 3/4, or you just want to spend your time doing the editorial, it's fine. Really, whatever a client needs, I'm amenable to try and work out what they need. And your studio is based in Brixton. It's a lovely studio with massive windows, if I remember rightly, with great view. Yeah, I forget I'm in Brixton because the view out of the window is just trees over this lovely garden. And I know Brixton really well. And when I was on the waiting list for 2 years to get in there, because people never leave studios, because it's once you find a studio that you love, it's kind of you stay there until you're old and grey. But yeah, so no, it's lovely. It's very chilled.
Fantastic.
Really close.
Well, that takes us perfectly on to the last question. If you could change one thing about the industry, we ask this to everybody that comes on the podcast. If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be and why?
It's diversity. I mean, it's obvious. It's better. But it could be so much better, and it's just going to take more time.
Yeah.
Everything should be so mixed up, reflecting life as it really is, not what somebody.
The world is, yeah. The world is.
Totally. And you see it sometimes with casting, how things can change with casting. Casting directors, they think they know what they want. But then you find yourself, or one of my clients might find themselves in a room with everybody looks completely different. They're all this particular type, then there's them. You think, that's so good. That means they loved the way you looked so much, they brought you in, and that could go in a different direction. And that's really interesting to see, because a lot of Black and mixed race actors, that's happening. They're in a room with a load of blonde actors. That means it can go this way, and we want it to go that way. It should be going that way. And there needs to be more. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
Well,
Alexa, that's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and for all your lovely insight. It's been so great to catch up with you. Best of luck with everything. If somebody wants to book onto one of your sessions, how can they find you?
Google me AP Wilding Photography, and or you can. I never mind messages on. People find me on social media. You just send me a message on any of them, but mostly Instagram is easier, and I'll send you links and how to book.
Awesome. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us for a quick chat.
And we'll speak to you again soon. So much about headshots.
We'll speak to you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.